Hello and welcome to the Perth Blue Baggers pod. We are back to review our round 2 loss to Hawthorn and our round 3 clash with the Western Bulldogs. So let's get, as always, I'm joined by my co-host.
Yes, it's great to be here and looking forward to the discussion. A bit of looking back and a little bit of looking forward this time round.
Yes. So let's get straight into a bit of the review of that clash with Hawthorn.
So, look, it started off with a tight tussle, 2 goals apiece in the first quarter, just 15-13. I thought our best burst was in the second quarter where we kicked 4 goals in a row. And I think that was fantastic. And they got a late goal, but we're up at half time, which was great. They then got 5 goals in a row after our 4 goals in a row. And it does show that, we've got to do more to stop runs on goal.
Yep.
But even then, we still hit back with 2 late goals. And at 3/4 time, there was just 5 points in it. And I thought, could we pull this off? But really, I think our last quarter was the most disappointing, where we just went and kicked 4 behinds in a row, which didn't help. And then ran away with 3-0 in that last quarter. So are we running out games as well as we should? I think that's one of the questions we might look at. It's disappointing final quarter for second week in a row. I do, look, clearly it was a better performance than the one against Richmond. Hawthorn are a quality team. We're competitive up for the first 3 quarters, and that's definitely an improvement. But I think we'd be disappointed to start the season at 0-2.
Yes. So two goals in that second half just won't cut it. Can't win games by kicking just 2 goals in the second half, especially when you need to, propel yourself to that winning margin.
It was 2 goals, 8 too. So we're just butchering chances in front of goal. And look, if we go to the stats and just have a look through some of the things, I think we're pretty competitive. We won the clearances quite comfortably. We won we were pretty good at the stoppages. And when it came to contested possessions, they were pretty much even. In fact, I think we had the slight edge.
Very much a contested game.
But the uncontested possessions, we got beaten 215 to 159. And I think that's just it's work and it's effort. So they're outrunning us when you're getting that kind of discrepancy.
Yeah,
really. And if you've got 2 extra men at the contest and the like, I think you're really going to struggle to win the match. So I think that's disappointing, and it probably says something about our game day tactics. I reckon we went one person too tall.
Yeah.
We talked about this before the last game, where we suggested that a smaller lineup would probably suit better against the Hawks. We're playing, the likes of... We brought in Lewis Young, as well as Brodie Kemp, didn't we? And we've got,
without Mackay.
You've got Wiedering without Mackay, that's true. But I think with Mackay being unable to play, why not bring a small in?
Yeah.
We had, we've got other people. We had Kemp and Curnow already playing in the forward line. Not sure about the Kemp experiment in the forward line anyway, but that's 2 talls in the forward line. And, we know that they're a speed team and they like to run, and I just think we're probably 1 tall too many. And I think, the other game day tactics, why the heck is Patrick Cripps rucking?
Yeah.
I think everyone's asking the same question. The thing is, JSOS is playing.
Yeah.
And he's a backup ruck, and he's not bad at it. He contests pretty well, and he's exactly the kind of guy you can throw in there to pinch hit when TDK's on the bench or resting up forward.
Yeah. And
it doesn't affect your structure in the same way. You got one of the best clearance players in the league, and you've got him rucking. It was just crazy. So there's some strange things there. I think a smaller lineup, a little bit smaller lineup this time round would probably suit us better.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a bit of game day analysis. I think probably next things are looking at the 5-4-3-2-1s.
Yeah. So we'll go into that voting. Take it away.
Well, I thought George Hewitt was pretty good. 28 touches, 11 tackles, 11 clearances, 405 metres gained. That was the best. He was the best Colton player on the ground for me. 1 goal. Look, he was in it the whole time around, and no one could fault him for effort. I love the tackles. He not only
11 tackles.
Yeah, 11 tackles is sensational.
Very significant.
So, he worked hard all game and no one could fault him there. TDK was really good. He battled hard all game, 7 clearances, 19 touches, which is pretty good in the ruck, 40 hit-outs. He makes a contest every time he's in a contest. He's fantastic like that. He's had 2 very good games despite our losses, and he can hold his head high. Patrick Cripps had 3 votes and another solid game from Cripps. Again, he hasn't had a bad start of the season. It's not his fault. 29 touches, 11 clearances, worked hard all day. I think he'd have more than 11 clearances if he wasn't racking. Very a solid game from him. Jacob Wiedering. Look, it's the thing about this is it's the same guys week in, week out, isn't it? And Wiedering is another. If we had 3 to 4 Jacob Wiederings, we'd be very happy. He took the most marks on the ground. He had the most intercepts for his team. He never gets beaten 1-on-1. He's been sensational. So 2 votes for him. And I thought Adam Chera was pretty solid, actually. 28 touches, worked hard, most metres gained on the field, pretty solid. And for my underrated, I know he got subbed off, but I still like the work of young Campo. I thought he started the season pretty well. He's only a youngster, so I think he's only getting a better game on game.
Yep, and apparently he was had a bit of vomiting. He was vomiting a bit during that game, so maybe that's why he was subbed off as well. So even more credit to him for sort of getting through that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And you had, what was in yours?
My votes, I have George Hewitt with 5, Tom de Koning with 4, Adam Chera with 3. Actually, now I think about it, I think Patrick Cripps should have 3 and Chera should have 2. And I've also gone for Jesse Motlop. He had a much better game. 19 disposals, 8 score involvements, 6 tackles and a goal. Little inaccurate, but it was a significant improvement for his effort. And then Wheaters is Wheaters.
Oh, look, with that last one on Jesse Motlop, I would have had him in the votes if it wasn't 3-1, 1-3 or 3-1. There's just a few opportunities in front of goal, and those 2 misses in the last quarter. That was 2 of those 4 behinds that we kicked. We kicked 0 goals for. A little bit better in front of goal, and he would have gotten the votes for me. But I do take your point with the 19 disposals, the 8 score involvements, and the 6 tackles.
Yeah.
That's what you want to see your forwards doing. The critique on Motlop previously was that he'd pop up for a goal, but he'd barely be sided up apart from that. This was a more complete all-round game from Jesse, and that's about maturing as a player. And if we see that kind of effort week in, week out, not only is he a first-choice small forward, but he's going to be one of our better players.
Hopefully. Maybe that's a better argument for him to be underrated. For mine, at least. But
you maybe put Weeders in there and you can have him as underrated.
Anyway, still good arguments for both. So let's get into the preview of round 3 versus the Western Bulldogs.
Look, this is a really interesting game for mine. We've played Richmond with most people expected to be bottom 4 in the ladder, if not the favourite for the wooden spoon.
Yeah.
We played Hawthorn. Most people expected them to be certainly in the 8, and on form, they're one of the best teams in the comp, probably. Going up to beat Sydney in Sydney, and then obviously knocking us off. I place Western Bulldogs right in the middle, somewhere around 8 to 12, maybe 7 to 12. They're a chance of playing finals, but they might miss. We'll see what happens. So this is a very good test for us.
Yeah.
To see where we're really at. If we intend to play finals, we've got to win these sorts of games.
Got to win it.
And we don't want to start 0-3. So it's really critical win it. And I think there's there's a number of important dogs not playing as well.
Yeah. The Bont out.
And I think Trelaw's not playing.
Trelaw's out. Waitman is out. Yeah, I think we'll just quickly have a look at their injury list.
Yeah, I think the injury list has popped up, and they'll tell an interesting story, I think. Because they've definitely got a few players out. So the Bond's out for the next 3 to 5 weeks. Certainly, we know Jamara, who absolutely towed us up, if you remember last time. He's not playing. Trelaw's out, as we mentioned. Liam Jones is the test.
He's probably expected to come
back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, there's a few others. Luke Cleary, Riley Garcia, Johannesen, Anthony Scott. There's a few others, but those ones are the really key ones. I think the Dogs are always a bit of a litmus test for us. When we're playing well, we beat them. I really reckon we knew that we were struggling when we played them at Docklands last time. We were over in Melbourne for it.
Yeah.
And they were really disappointing. We were really disappointing, really, particularly at the back end. We butchered lots of chances. I don't think Charlie had a great game that time.
3 goals, 7 or something like that.
Something like that. He had a chance to take the game by the scruff. I remember him sort of bombing away at one stage when Cripps was running with an opening goal. It was one of those sort of games. But it was a sign that we weren't really clicking. Yeah. We weren't really linking up well as a team. So I reckon this will be a really interesting litmus test for us. Yeah. I do reckon we can get over the line, though. I think that, there's been... The other interesting thing, I reckon, is suddenly all the commentators are jumping on. The big pile-ons on. And they're all saying we don't have the list to do it. List is overrated, all these sorts of things. Everyone's got 1,000 reasons, and there's some good analysis probably amongst it. Yeah. But I think we've got plenty of ability, but I think we're just not clicking at the moment. And if we can get just like that second quarter, get that going, play 4 quarters of football. We haven't played 4 quarters of football. The only time I think we played 4 quarters of football was against West Coast.
Yeah.
Only time since in the whole of the second half, pretty much, of last year and the start of this year.
We've won like two wins out of 12 losses or something like that.
That's right. So, but we know we can play good football, and I think that this is the time to turn it on.
Hopefully, yes. So, maybe a little bit of a prediction.
Oh, an interesting one. I'm going to pick us by 10 points over the Dogs. Okay.
Any significant players?
Look, it's there's been a bit of thinking that we've got. I heard some analysis. We've got 5 or 6 really elite players. Right, those 5 or 6 elite players being our 2 forwards and Harry and Charlie. And bear in mind, Harry's a test to see if he plays. May or may not play. Charlie's come back from an injury, so we've got Cripps. Everyone rates very highly with good reason. Wheatering's in that list as well. And TDK. So, everyone admits those players are pretty good, right? Sam Walsh should be the other one, right? So 6 players, right? I think it's the next 6 players that we really need to step up. I think that's where the match will be won and lost. It'll be about whether the rest of the players are really standing up.
Yeah.
Does Adam Sard have a big game?
Yeah.
Does Mitch McGovern really take the game by the scruff of his, by the scruff, and really set up a lot of our players?
Does Nick Haynes finally prove his worth, sort of thing?
Yeah, there's a lot of our players
that are experienced and should be providing some support for the.
Yeah, there's a number of others.
The A graders.
Yeah, that we really need to step up and really show what they've got. Blake Acres, I know he can play.
He had an off game.
He wasn't great. We all like Acres. He's one of our favourite players. Let's see him really fire up. He'll make a difference. Those running players. Yeah, I'd like to see them probably bring in one more runner. That's for mine.
Jordan Boyd was very promising.
He was good.
In the VFL.
He was good, wasn't he, in the VFL? I think most people were saying he's best on ground. So I'd say bring him back in, and that might be a nice change at the expense of one of the tools.
Yep. Also, just looking, Cottrell also had a good game.
Yeah, he was a bit unlucky to not be in the votes. He ran hard and, he always works hard, but he got a reasonable amount of the ball and he was in some of those early chains as well. So, look, I thought Ollie Hollins wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
He was pretty good. So there's a few. I think Brody Kemp's got one or two more cracks at it until Harry and Charlie are both playing in the forward line to really demonstrate that suits him. Because he might find himself squeezed out when both of them are playing.
Yeah. I'm not expecting Harry to come in. It's more unlikely than likely because he hasn't trained since Thursday. But he trained today. I'm not sure. This is filmed on Wednesday night, so we'll wait to see for the teams to come out Thursday night tomorrow.
We don't have long to wait.
Yeah, call will be made on Harry soon.
Yeah. Does someone like Cooper Lloyd start?
Yeah.
This time he's only in the sub last time. That would be an interesting one. I think he started in the first game and got subbed by Doherty. I'm expecting Doherty to sort of build as he goes on. He hasn't played a lot of footy.
Yeah.
We know he's full of class and he plays with heart. So I'm expecting him to improve each game. So I think that will make a big difference.
Do you keep him on the wing or the halfback?
I prefer halfback for Doherty myself. I know a lot of other people like the wing, but I think he's good running off halfback.
Well, there is a void with Newman, so I guess he's a bonus experience to replace. But hopefully, if he builds his form enough.
I think the question is whether you keep playing Silvani down back. And twice in 2 games, they've ended up swinging him up forward. I don't mind Silvani up forward. The knock on him is he doesn't kick a lot of goals, but he plays with heart and passion.
Yeah.
He tends to bob up when the going's tough. Like he kicked a goal against the Flow in the Richmond game.
Yeah.
And he puts pressure on. He contests hard, and he puts pressure on. And not all of your forwards need to be goal kickers in their own right. They're all role players. So look, it's the jury's out for mine whether you've got Silvani down back and Brody Kemp up forward.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots to look at. It's a really interesting matchup, and you won't get a better chance to have a crack at the Dogs than with the likes of the Bond and Treloar out.
Yeah. I'll go into my predictions. I think it will be a 17-point win, and Jesse Motlop will get 3 goals as a bit of a standout. Just as the last game is a little bit of a stepping stone for and a big improvement, hopefully.
Well, I reckon the goals start coming when the effort's there.
Yeah.
And the effort was there last week, so I reckon and if you look past last year, because he didn't have a great year, but he had injuries. If you go back to 23, he had a lot of potential in 23.
Yes.
So we're really looking for that some outstanding small forwards, aren't we? We've got plenty on the list. We just need a couple of them firing to support the likes of Charlie and Harry.
Yeah.
Because we've been a bit one-dimensional. We're always going to those 2 players in the forward line.
Indeed. So that will do us for this episode. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow us on Instagram at the Perth Blue Baggers Pod. Have a good one. Up the Baggers.
Calm the Blues.